Hello there, lovely. Good morning and welcome to Camnet TV Breakfast. This morning it is a Wednesday, and we are happy that you could still join us this particular morning. Remember, we are live on GoTV, DSTV, and Facebook as well as YouTube. Search for Camnet TV. Like the page and subscribe to the channel so that we can grow together. Now, in terms of current affairs, from the dissolution of the Patriotic Front Central Committee to Mr. Ground and Chama America issuing stern warning to the PF faction leader, Mr. Mao Sampa, and also a lot more in current affairs this particular morning you don't want to miss. But for now, let's get into the health corner. We'll be right back.
Hi, good morning and welcome to today's health segment on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakuya Namfaya. This week we are talking about malaria, and yesterday we talked about what malaria is and how it comes about, and we discovered that malaria is a parasitic infection that is spread by mosquitoes, and this only happens when the mosquito bites you and is spread by the female mosquito. So today we want to discover what are the symptoms and signs of somebody that has malaria. How can you tell that you have malaria? So there are various symptoms, and there are so many symptoms, but I will highlight some of the symptoms that are very critical and cardinal to patients that have malaria. So these symptoms include patients who have malaria would have headaches, they will have a fever, they might have weakness, they will have body pains and just generally feeling ill. They might also have other symptoms like yellowing of the eyes. They might have abdominal pain. They might present with symptoms of vomiting, nausea, and sometimes they might have a large spleen. And this is because the red blood cells, as they are being destroyed in the body, they are destroyed in the spleen. And so the spleen will be getting bigger and bigger. So malaria is very prevalent in our communities, and there are so many people that die from malaria every year. In Zambia, we still have a number of people getting sick of malaria, and we need to be able to know that malaria is treatable and we can go to the hospital and get treatment as quickly as possible. So these are some of the symptoms to look out for in people that you suspect might have malaria. So if somebody has a headache, somebody has fever, somebody has nausea, vomiting, weakness, do not hesitate to take them to the hospital, because malaria can kill if it is not treated in good time. So today we are learning that malaria has various symptoms, and some of the symptoms, the common symptoms, are headache, fever, weakness, nausea, vomiting. So make sure that you look out for these things in your family members, your friends, and people in the community, so that you know when to get help and when to get treatment for malaria. So that's the end of today's segment. I hope you have learned something. Look out for other interesting topics that we will discover or talk about this week in the coming days. So keep watching The Breakfast Show and keep watching Camnet TV. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay, thank you so much for still joining us on the morning breakfast. As you kickstart your Wednesday this particular morning, remember we're coming from a 4 days actually, holiday. And Wednesday to some feels like Monday, but we can only wish you all the best. I'm sure you are now having what is known as not Monday blues, but Wednesday blues this particular morning. However, it's nice to have you here. Now, going straight into it, we have our guest in our main interview. He is Mr. Patrick Samwimbila. He is the UPND Director, Traditional Media under the Presidential Support Team. He joins us this morning to discuss a number of pertinent national matters. Mr. Samwimbila, good to see you and welcome.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's been long. Good to see you too.
It has been a while, Mr. Samwimbila.
Yes.
How have you been?
I've been well, thank you. And God is keeping us. And we should thank God for this new day. After 4 days off activities, like you have said, it feels like a Monday.
Okay. Fantastic. Let's get into it, sir. A lot is happening. A lot happened over the weekend, and you coming from the Presidential Support Program, there has been a thorny issue, and that has to do with load shedding, Mr. Samwimbila. You know that a lot of citizens are now being subjected to using candles, which, on the other hand, the price of candles also is going up.
Yeah.
And this has been a source of concern. How are you addressing this matter, or how are you handling this particular matter, sir?
Well, thank you very much. It is a matter really that sometimes one would say, well, we've talked about it again and again, but it's something that we must continue discussing with the citizens and encouraging the citizens to keep the hope. To keep faith and to realize that as human beings we can only do so far, but the rest we leave with God. What do I mean by that? What I simply mean here is that in our plans as human beings, as Zambians, and even the leadership, including the president, including all our colleagues in the opposition, none of us foresaw the drought, the heavy drought that we've suffered this particular year, and that is chiefly what has affected our power generation and our power distribution. So first of all, we want to sympathize with all the citizens. Please, Zambians, know that your leaders are aware about these challenges that you are going through, having to use candles like my friend here has mentioned, having to use other sources of lighting even when you have electricity that's supposed to flow in your house. But the challenges are for all of us to endure. Let's build the resilience. Very soon, and very soon indeed, we should be able to come out victorious together, having sorted out the issue of our power outages. How do we sort it out? That is the question. Well, government is not resting. Government has put measures in place, both short-term and long-term. Perhaps I should address first of all myself to the long-term measures, which every Zambian, I think, desires that at 60 years of independence today, we should be talking about we shouldn't be talking about load shedding so many hours because of drought. We should be saying, where did we miss the link? How did we fail to diversify the power mix so that we only depend on hydropower generation? Hydropower has a variable which is water. And when we do not have water in that particular season, that is, we do not have rains, then our power generation is affected. But then we have another one, which is solar. I think we have a lot of sunshine in Zambia. I think we receive quite a lot of the heat from the sun, and we can be able to tap energy from there. And some of these things are the long-term projects that the president and the UPND government has embarked on. I think not long ago, 2 days or 3 days ago, I was again on TV talking about the measures that government is doing. The solar plants that are being established as we speak. Right now, one is already being constructed around nearby here in Chisamba. That is going to give us about over 100 megawatts come by December this year. So it is within months that plant will be operational. Then we thank government also that for revamping the Ndola Energy operation that has brought in also 105 megawatts. We've also, I think, heard from the president's address that Mamba Corales will be able also to up their megawatts by the contract that they have gone in with financing institutions to be able to build another. That's Mamba Corales 2. That is now getting power from coal. Mamba Corales, you're talking about coal energy, which will come again and support our generation capacity and our distribution capacity. So in the long term, we should be, I think, a country that even the southern region should be able to depend on. I know they have always depended on Zambia. Zambia has a capacity of generation of way over almost 4,000 megawatts production, and what Zambia consumes is just about 2,300 megawatts. So the surplus we have always, and I want to be quoted there. As Zambia, we have always exported power because we don't need the surplus and we don't store power. The moment power is generated, it has to be exported. That because we proud ourselves of the enough water that we have always had. With these water bodies, we've always received favorable rainfall. But this particular year, citizens, I repeat, this particular year, it was fitting also in the sight of God that we have the drought, and the drought has come. So since the drought is here, it is also teaching us to diversify. It is teaching us to have plan B, plan C, plan D, instead of just depending on plan A, which is 83% of our power generation, which is dependent on water. So in a nutshell, and we shall continue saying this, both in the long term and in the short term, government is doing the best they could. And one of the measures of policies of government is to zeroize taxes on energy-related imports. If you want to import a panel, a solar panel from outside, you will get it into the country without paying any taxes on it. That means that these products are slightly cheaper now on the market, so that you and me can be able to install some of these domestic solar panels and be able to enjoy power and probably even supply our neighbors in terms of being able to sell. The last one I can comment on quickly is that government has also opened up the trading, the market, the power market, or the generation and the distribution policy of our electricity in Zambia. Before, it has always been ZESCO. Okay, maybe here you could get me clearly, our viewers out there, that there was a monopoly and designed so then, but government today has decided that we shouldn't just leave ZESCO alone to do the distribution. What used to happen that you can generate your own power, you can have a small plant to generate power, but it has to go to ZESCO. ZESCO has to buy you off, and ZESCO will be the one distributing. And then you find that even in costing, it has been a bit difficult, because there was no competition. So in every field, when there is competition and the prices come down, that is what government has again done, has opened up ZESCO. This is what is being called the open access. Government is also importing power from Mozambique. I think you saw the Mozambican president just this week was here in Zambia, and we know there was a lot of talk with our president. They enjoyed, making arrangements on how Zambia can be assisted to get a little more power from Mozambique, and so that we can really put this matter to rest. Probably hoping that we could reach December, January, when we are able to receive rains without our Kariba generation shutting down. But for now, let us enjoy the 12 hours that officially ZESCO has put up, that we are load shedded for 12 hours. And this is not only in Zambia, by the way. You may wish to know that the whole southern region is actually affected because of the El Nino phenomena. That is what I can say in a nutshell. But this is a discussion we shall continue engaging on. And I know many experts have also been on air explaining these matters. The energy minister was on a Sunday interview not long ago, and again I saw another interview, I think should be the ZESCO MD or the ZESCO directors, that were also explaining these matters. I believe there could also be a press briefing today by ZESCO. So let us pay attention to these discussions, and these discussions are meant to give us hope, and also meant to fill up the gap of information where people are just wondering, why am I in the dark? What has happened? What is my government doing? So that's why we keep on explaining, repeating ourselves, so that we give hope to the people of Zambia, and we assure them that government is not sitting down. Government is really concerned, because businesses have been affected. Small-scale businesses have been affected, and this is regrettable. But what we know is that this is a problem for all of us Zambians, and we must all get together and be able to fight this until we reach the end and be able to see the light of these initiatives that are being put in place.
Okay. Now, you are coming from Nadi constituency, Mr. Samuel Mbira, and I want to find out, what is the conversation with members of the public? Are they receptive to the message that your party, the UPND, and obviously government officials together with you,
yes,
as somebody who is in the presidential support program, how has been the response or feedback from members of the public? Are they receptive to the information that you are giving out?
Well, I can proudly say that I think first of all, information has to be shared. Okay, whether it's painful to do so, or to hear it or to share it, let the information be shared. Let the conversations go on. This is the truth that we are speaking. Personally, I've always taught people I discuss matters, I discuss issues. I don't discuss personalities. I don't discuss petty things, but I discuss the real things. So I can assure you that we've been on programs. I think on Monday I was on another breakfast show. I received overwhelming support with the messages and the calls that were coming in. People are appreciating these messages. We can't keep quiet and let our people suffer like that. We must be able to give them hope. And indeed, to answer you, people are receptive. They are appreciating the messages, although they would really want to see quick results. Okay, they would want to see immediate results, which we are assuring our citizens that actually, if the government didn't put in these short-term mechanisms, we were going to be in a worse situation than we are today. So I think we are excited and we are proud that so many government officials, experts, ministers, we've seen also the president having these pressers in order to bridge the gap between the people and the government, between the people and the ruling party, by them knowing what their party is doing, by the people knowing what their government is doing. Because if we don't explain these real issues, the opposition are ready to drive an agenda of propaganda, thinking that maybe there's somebody who just wants to disadvantage the people. But again, the Zambian people know, yes, they have to cry to their parent who is government, but they know that there is a heavy drought.
Is your party listening? Is it a listening government, Mr. Samuel?
That's why today here I have told you that we sympathize with the people and we appreciate the feedback we are getting from the people because we are listening.
Okay, but during one of the press conferences, the president told the nation through the media that hunger is biblical. Is that comforting enough?
Well, and you know that I've not been wanting to comment on that discussion for a long time, and I've seen people, especially the opposition, peddling this matter, thinking that maybe the president was not right in stating so. I thought through it. You know, today I posted, this early morning I posted on my Facebook after reading the Bible, and then I got a chapter, a verse from Colossians chapter 4 verse 6, which talks about how our conversations should be.
Okay.
To answer your question, I can be controversial also by saying everything we do is biblical. Everything we experience, everything we get through is biblical.
Mr. Samuel, is that comforting enough?
No, that's not the discussion for today. That's not the discussion for today. And there was a rider, except you are not finishing the sentence that the president said. You are simply picking something, and people are picking it out of context. Unfortunately,
put it in context.
But if I can put what my response in context is that everything. I've also seen another statement. I think it was originated, or it's being originated by one of the social media influencers, Lilian Mtambo, who says life is spiritual. I tend to agree with her as well. Everything that we pass through, remember, everything that comes our way, God would have allowed it.
Okay.
If you agree with me, I think Camnet TV is a Christian TV, by the way. I can tell you that coming from the Christian background, I can agree that everything that we pass through, God would have seen it fit to give it to us. In that same situation you are passing through, there are other doors that are opening. So even when one is going through hunger, there will be another door that will open in that particular situation. That's why we are saying everything that we go through, God would have seen it. It is actually maybe prophesied already. It is something that has already been laid. We are simply passing through it. This drought we are facing, one would argue to say, no, it is not permitted by God. But who else does? Who else does? You can talk about, yes, it is necessitated, maybe induced by human activities, the way we are polluting the environment. But by and large, what we are saying is that God has seen it. And God knows that Zambia will get through this particular situation. So for me, everything we pass through is biblical.
Okay.
Yes. I would also want to, apart from me just responding to you, I would also want to request that at some point you could also give me a few things that I want to share with the public, things that the government is doing. Yes, you will ask me questions to respond to some questions, but I would also want to share some developmental activities, some news that is exciting to the nation, that we use this platform to
let's begin to hear those things.
Yes, just this particular week, actually, not within a space of 5 to 6 days. Within a space of 5 to 6 days, we want to assure people now that yes, this hunger is with us. Many people have no food in their homes; they are starving. But we want to assure them that no one will die of hunger. Your government is working around the clock, and we have seen results. And these are the results I want to, if you give me just a bit of some time, I run through a few results, positive results that has come out of the initiatives and out of the policies and out of the direction that the president has. You know, the president early this year, when we experienced over you know, about 13 weeks of no drops of rain, the president, with consulting other leaders, stakeholders, the spiritual leaders and everybody else, decided to declare a national disaster and emergency. And in his declaration for the national disaster and emergency, he appealed to the international community. He also appealed to the Zambian local community to come on board and support government in making sure that the 84 districts that were heavily affected by this drought, people, households should not die of hunger. And that appeal, my brother, has started yielding results. And this trickle-down effect is what we are